Haunted ex-K9 officer Jake Rosser must unravel a violent crime ring to protect his family in Muzzle, City of Wolves, 2025, directed by John Stauberg Jr. This film stakes its claim in the crowded action thriller landscape with a tightly wound premise. A former LAPD cop balancing life with his family and a retired police dog, only to be thrust back into chaos when a gang targets them. With a runtime just over an hour and a half, Stauberg's return to gritty, character-driven action promises a sharp blend of emotional stakes and kinetic thrills. Known for blending tension with a clear visual style, this latest entry invites us to dissect how the film navigates the familiar territory of revenge and justice through the lens of canine partnership and urban violence. At its core, Muzzle, City of Wolves is an action thriller steeped in mystery, anchored by the archetype of the haunted cop trying to reclaim a semblance of peace. The premise, a retired canine officer, Jake Rosser, who must protect his family from a brutal gang attack, immediately sets the tone for a high-stakes narrative driven by personal loss and relentless pursuit. Given the 2025 release, the film arrives in a cinematic climate where gritty cops and dogs revenge stories are often saturated with hyper-violence and stylized action. Yet, the involvement of Stauberg Jr., alongside writers Jacob Michael King and Carlisle Eubank, suggests an intention to balance visceral thrills with grounded emotional beats, likely aiming for a mid-budget theatrical or streaming audience hungry for tightly paced, character-anchored suspense. John Stauberg Jr.'s direction is central to how Muzzle crafts its tension. His previous work often relies on intimate framing and steady pacing to build suspense, rather than drowning scenes in frenetic cuts. We can expect a visual style that favors close-ups to capture the emotional weariness of Rosser, paired with wider shots that emphasize the urban menace of Los Angeles at night. Color palettes likely lean into muted tones, grays, blues, and harsh streetlights, reinforcing the cold, unforgiving city environment. Camera movement probably shifts from handheld during moments of chaos to more controlled tracking shots for the investigative sequences, creating a rhythm that mirrors Jake's oscillation between vulnerability and determination. The editing, sharp and purposeful, should heighten the stakes without sacrificing clarity in action sequences. The action scenes themselves are probably choreographed with a focus on practical effects and grounded combat, reflecting Stauberg's tendency to avoid over-CGI spectacle. This approach roots the violence in reality, making every punch and chase feel consequential. Dramatic tension is likely amplified by the interplay between Jake and his canine partners, both Socks, the retired dog, and the new canine Argos. Their bond presumably serves as an emotional anchor amidst the film's brutality, adding layers to the action that go beyond mere shootouts and car chases. The pacing, from the trailers and marketing, suggests the film balances quieter, character-driven moments with bursts of intense, well-staged conflict. The casting of Aaron Eckhart as Jake Rosser is a strong choice. Eckhart's track record of playing complex, world-weary characters who carry personal demons lends credibility to the role. His performance likely walks the line between stoic determination and underlying vulnerability, crucial for grounding the film's emotional core. Supporting actors like Tanya Van Gran and Carl Fanning, along with Nicole Fortune and Dean Goldblum, round out an ensemble that mixes seasoned performers with fresh faces, creating potential for solid chemistry. Given the film's focus on family and loyalty, these relationships on screen should feel authentic and layered. Early buzz hints at a cast capable of delivering both action chops and nuanced dramatic moments, elevating the narrative beyond genre cliches. The inclusion of Dominique Mayer, Grant Ross, and Matsi Tekateka suggests a diverse supporting cast that can add texture to the urban environment and criminal underworld Jake confronts. Ensemble dynamics in films like this are critical for building believable stakes. The audience must buy into the idea that the threat is real and the support network around the protagonist is tangible. The film's relatively lean runtime also means the cast must efficiently convey relationship dynamics without bogging down the story. This ensemble's collective experience across action and drama points to a layered performance landscape where even minor roles carry weight in establishing the film's tense atmosphere. Writing-wise, Muzzle, City of Wolves appears to embrace a classical three-act structure centered around loss, pursuit, and resolution. Thematically, it explores justice and redemption through the lens of a man haunted by his past and driven to protect what remains of his family. The presence of two canine partners, one retired, one active, likely symbolizes Jake's internal struggle between past trauma and renewed purpose. The script, crafted by a team including King and Eubank alongside Stahlberg Jr., seems to aim for a taut narrative that balances mystery with high-octane action. Dialogue is expected to be lean and functional, prioritizing mood and motivation over exposition-heavy scenes. The film leans into the thriller genre's staples, but with a personal, almost noirish touch that sets it apart from broader crime flicks. The mystery element adds an additional layer to the story, likely unfolding through investigative beats that reveal the gang's motives without derailing the momentum. This balance is crucial in a 93-minute film, where pacing must be tight. Thematically, the film seems to explore the idea of loyalty, not just between humans, but between man and dog, as a cornerstone of resilience in a corrupt environment. The writers' backgrounds hint at a screenplay that respects genre conventions while trying to inject fresh emotional stakes, avoiding overused tropes through character-driven storytelling and a palpable sense of place within Los Angeles's underbelly. As a standalone film, Muzzle, City of Wolves doesn't appear to be part of a larger franchise, which frees it from the burden of setup or sequel hooks. This allows a more focused story, squarely aiming at fans of gritty, urban action thrillers, where personal stakes drive the narrative. Comparisons naturally arise with films like John Wick or The Equalizer, movies that blend precise action choreography with a protagonist on a mission of vengeance and protection. However, Muzzle differentiates itself through its canine angle, adding a unique emotional texture. It's less about spectacle and more about character-driven tension, which might appeal to audiences seeking both adrenaline and heart. The mystery thread also invites comparisons to neo-noir thrillers, blending genre elements in a way that could broaden its appeal. Audience expectations should align with a film that delivers gritty action without sacrificing emotional depth. Fans of tightly edited mid-budget thrillers will likely appreciate the balance between suspense and action beats. Those looking for sprawling world-building or high-concept twists might find it more straightforward, but that clarity can be a strength here. The film's lean runtime and focused story suggest a lean, no-frills approach to the genre, emphasizing mood and character over flash. For viewers familiar with Eckhart's work or Stahlberg Jr.'s directing style, this will likely feel like a natural extension of their strengths, grounded, intense, and emotionally resonant. Muzzle, City of Wolves is most suited to audiences who appreciate action thrillers with a strong emotional core and a straightforward narrative. If you're drawn to stories of redemption, loyalty, and urban grit, this film will deliver. Its strengths lie in solid performances, particularly from Eckhart, and a director who knows how to use visual storytelling to build tension without resorting to excess. Potential weaknesses might include a reliance on familiar genre tropes or a story that doesn't break significant new ground. But the execution and pace should keep viewers engaged. Overall, it's a solid worth the stream for fans of character-driven thrillers that balance action with emotional weight. Conversely, if you prefer highly stylized action or complex puzzle-like narratives with layered twists, this might not be your go-to. The film's grounded approach and focus on personal stakes could feel too restrained for those expecting bombastic spectacle. Still, the blend of mystery and action, plus the unique angle of canine partnership, offers enough freshness to stand out in a saturated market. For viewers open to a lean, intense thriller anchored by a strong lead and a palpable sense of place, Muzzle delivers an experience that's both emotionally invested and thrillingly paced. To wrap up, Muzzle, City of Wolves is a sharp reminder that in the action thriller genre, Emotional grounding and clear visual storytelling can elevate familiar narratives into something compelling. Haunted by his past, but driven by love and duty, Jake Rosser's journey through violence and redemption offers a focused, kinetic ride. If you're looking for a film that respects its characters as much as its action, John Stallberg Jr.'s latest is a worthy pick. Thanks for watching this breakdown on Cut to Reel. If you want more incisive looks at films that matter, stick around for what's next. Thanks for watching Cut to Reel. I'll see you next time for another look beneath the surface of cinema's best.